Well, despite some annoying technical issues with the Fite TV feed, this event still had some memorable moments, and let's talk about them. I'm John Renton with my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Windy City Riot in Villa Park, Illinois, labeled as Chicago, Illinois. I imagine that Villa Park is near Chicago. I don't know much about Illinois geography, but that being said, regardless, a pretty goddamn hot crowd in the Odeum Expo Center, and the last ever event taking place there. And you would have thought with a couple matches that the wrestlers were bound determined to accelerate the demolition. So yeah, I'm not going to say the event was all that great. Yes, the Fite TV feed did have its issues. Fite TV has got to come up with better servers or something. New Japan's got to just pour some money into just going with somebody else that could have better quality. I mean, look, it was fine for what it was. They got it right eventually, but there were some issues. Fite TV's got to step their shit up. I mean, there's blame with New Japan, and there's also blame with Fite. I understand they're trying to break more into the U.S. market, but it was a little bit irritating. Now, I wasn't as irritated because I've dealt with shit like this from Fite TV, and, you know, the events turn out to be pretty good, but goddamn, when you pay for this shit, you really want to be able to see the whole goddamn thing. Now, I will say when I could hear the crowd, and there were some audio issues, the crowd was pretty goddamn electric. Dun, 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 dun. And I do want to start off by saying I don't know whose idea it was to give QT Marshall time to cut a promo, but that person should probably be flogged repeatedly, Starship Trooper style. It's not that QT's a bad person, I just don't find him interesting. It's the LA Dojo team of Carl Fredericks, Clark Connors, and Yuya Yamura versus the Factory, QT Marshall, Nick Camarado, and Aaron Solo. QT sucks chance. There was no commentary due to the aforementioned Fite TV feed issues. Camarado got to show off his strength. They lost the signal for a bit. They did come back, and look, this wasn't going to be like anything that was going to set the world on fire, but it was a nice showing for 3 young talents. Well, 5 young talents and a veteran like QT Marshall. Kevin Kelly and the former Aiden English, Matt Reinhold, I believe is how his last name's pronounced. I'm not really sure. I apologize. Camarado did get to show off his power. Yuya has really improved dramatically since going off on excursion. And, well, there was a nut shot behind the rest back and a cutter, 1, 2, 3. Yuya Yamura taking the pin. Not the only multi-man match that we get, because we go right to a 12-man tag, or rather a 10-man tag. The 12-man tag's on later. Team Filthy, Danny Limelight, JR Kratos, Royce Isaacs, Jarrell Nelson, and Black Tiger number 12, or 50. I don't really know at this point. Black Tiger looks like he's about 60 years old, and I don't know who the Black Tiger is. I have no idea who it is. They took on Team No Days Off, or Team Fred Rosser, because Rosser is bound determined to get his hands on Filthy Tom Lawler and the Strong Openweight Championship. He's been just doing everything he can. They've really been doing a good job building Fred Rosser, and you might realize and might have noticed that I have not been reviewing New Japan Strong outside of the 4 tapings that took place, the 4 episodes that took place in Seattle in January, when I went there January 15th. I had a lot of fun reviewing those, and it was a lot of fun seeing how the crowd came across in the small, historic Washington Hall. But anyway, Team No Days Off was Fred Rosser, Ren Narita, Chris Dickinson, Alex Coughlin, I always said Coughlin, I apologize, and the walking weapon, Josh Alexander. Why even have a ref? I kid, this match actually wasn't that bad. Rosser's team was obviously motivated, they wanted to do good and help him win, because the more momentum he gets, the more of a case he's going to have to get his hands on Tom Lawler in the Strong Openweight Championship. Good to see that Chris Dickinson is back after that scare. Was it an injury scare at Battle in the Valley? I think it was. And Danny Limelight, he's got that energy, got that swagger. I really like Danny Limelight. I'm glad to see him back on New Japan programming. Though Kevin Kelly knocks his sneakers and says, does he cut the grass with these? My goodness, Kevin! Skating the line there, aren't you? We get a melee and a huge pop on a delayed vertical suplex by Alex Coughlin on JR Kratos. And Kratos does a dive. My goodness, that was scary. And we get a chicken wing variation by Fred Rosser. It's going back to the Bob Backlund pairing. Oh boy, that was a goddamn mistake and a half. We're going to make Darren Young great again. Oh, boy, that aged like milk. But anyway, Fred Rosser does get the victory. But then Filthy Tom Lawler says, fuck it, I'm not waiting, I'm going to attack Rosser now. But then Yuji Nagata shows up because they have a match. Literally, right after this, actually. Nagata cuts a promo and says, give me a title shot. And Lawler's like, okay, I can beat this man. I can beat this 53-year-old Japanese man that's been wrestling longer than I've been alive. Actually, I think Lawler actually has been, I think he's at least in his mid-30s, so I believe that he was actually alive when Nagata may have started his career. But anyway, nevertheless, strong openweight championship. It was a slugfest. Nagata, he's still so good. Yes, he's had to vary up his offense and slow down a bit because 53, Father Time is undefeated. Good strike battle. Lawler's just smooth. Smooth as silk. Great how he's transitioned from, full-time MMA to wrestling. He's good at both, but he's just a natural. He's got great charisma, great character work, but he's very good in the ring. We get some submission trading, and then eventually we get Lawler picking up the victory with a trap, and there you go. He picks up the win, gets a pinfall on Nagata, but there was some nice submission trading, some nice strikes. That was some good stuff. So now let's move on to, dear God, a 12-man tag. Man, I understand they want to get everybody in this goddamn card, but holy fucking shit. United Empire, well, Will Ospreay wasn't there because he's in the main event. Jeff Cobb, Aaron Hanari, the Great Okan, that I will no longer be knocking because that man did his due diligence and did anything anybody else would do in that situation, saved a young woman from something that she shouldn't have been accosted by. Basically, just somebody being a goddamn piece of shit, and the Great Okan being a scary, scary tall man, and very, very large, did the right thing. So we have Kyle Fletcher, Mark Davis. I'm not familiar with them. And unfortunately, TJP. That is his name now. Unfortunately, TJP. Because nobody really likes TJP. They took on the Bullet Club. The finesser, Chris Bay. The dashing Chris Bay. I mean, I remember seeing him at an indie show a few years ago and thinking, wow, this guy's really good. And God, he's just been so fucking impressive. El Phantasmo, Hikuleo, Scott Flash Norton. Scott Flash Norton is back in the ring. He's back in New Japan Ring in 2022. Scott Norton will be 61 in June. And sadly, the Good Brothers, home of the Good Brothers, May We Take Your Order, are in this match as well. TJP got booed, thankfully. At least the Chicago fans were smart. The Good Brothers, I don't care. I don't care whenever the Good Brothers are in the ring. Scott did do a nice suplex spot to Cobb. He did probably where it should have ended. And I love Scott. I do. Scott's legit tough. Father Time, still undefeated, no doubt. And even at 61, you're not going to hit the best of. He does hit a few lariats, if you want to call him that. And then tags out. He gets a chance to show his stuff. I mean, hey, if we could have gotten Scott Norton even 10 years ago against Cobb now, it might have been something. But dear God, don't give us that match one-on-one. It will not be pretty. So, I guess they're called Team Aussie, Fletcher, and Davis. This Davis guy showed up. Very tall individual. We get a lot of double teaming. And then eventually, a double team maneuver. Corey Ellis, I think is what it's called. I think is what the announcer said. 1, 2, 3. Dashing Chris Bay took the pin. Okay. And, I mean, it makes sense that Hikuleo didn't take the pin because he's going to be facing Jay White pretty soon. And all hail, says Great Okan. Who's going to knock a man that did the right thing and saved a woman? That piece of shit that did that to her, though, and Okan stopping that, whoever that piece of shit was, honestly needs to go to freaking jail and get a limb cut off as far as I'm concerned. So now we get to the Chicago Street Fight. Jonah, Shane, Haste, Bad Dude Tito versus Finn Juice, Juice Robinson, and David Toe Finley, and Brody King, and oh dear. This match had no right going 25 pissing minutes. You see the clips and you see that Jonah has attacked, people close to Finley, and there's a lot of personal animosity. Nothing wrong with trying to make a match mean something, but the announcers referenced how there was a Chicago Street Fight between LOD and Ahmed Johnson taking on Nation of Domination, and it was, 10 minutes? In Chicago, at the Rosemont Horizon, I believe. And you're telling me that match for about 10, maybe 12 minutes at the most, they couldn't have done that? They couldn't have done that here? This was fine at first, and there were some signal issues. Okay, this is going to be the last time I talk about that stuff, because it is what it is. I can go back and watch this stuff eventually if I want. What I will not go back and watch is this match. It's not that it was bad, it's not that there wasn't some good stuff, but this went forever. This had no right going 25 minutes. There were blue chairs in there because they blew the chair in a blue ring window, and that's not making sense. Let's move on. By the way, this is Juice's last ride. Let's hear it for the Juice. He wants to leave New Japan and actually probably wind down his career. I think he might make some appearances in AEW, maybe because his girlfriend is there, or fiance. I don't know what him and Tony Storm's relationship status is, and I don't really care. Good for them regardless. But they had a fire extinguisher spot. They had a bunch of chairs in the ring. They had a door there. That's adorable. They had a ladder for no goddamn reason. They had the DVD on the chairs. This got messy. More tables. And, and broken bodies. And a ladder got split. At one point, somebody got hit in the dick with a chair, because why the hell not? We got a pile of chairs, a superplex, a snap bomb on them. The door got broken. Jonah splashes Brody through a ladder. And then we got to see the sledgehammer. Why don't you call my name, please, for the love of God? End this. Oh, it did. Because we got a shillelagh to Jonah's head. 1, 2, 3. Will Juice come back? Maybe. I mean, if he wants to wind up, he reinvented himself and revived his career and had a second life in New Japan. If he wants to wind down, he's given his body in New Japan. I don't blame him. This match, however, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. And then the crew cleans up. Holy sweep chance. That was actually kind of funny. And suddenly, who is going to answer the USFJ Open Challenge? So Jay White is winding down this stuff because I think he's probably going to show up at Wrestling Dontaku or show up at New Japan Dominion. He's going to be part of the G1. Basically because travel restrictions are lifting, and since it's back in the summer. I mean, I ain't the biggest fan of Jay White. I'm just going to say that right now. But it makes sense for him to go into the G1 field. But they show Moxley, and Moxley just saying, go get him. Shooter Umino. It's good old Shooter. Shota Umino, who's been on excursion. And my goodness, that was a huge fucking pop for Shooter. Shooter chance, Shooter chance. And oh boy, Matt says, Jay may have the bullets, but tonight Chicago has the Shooter. Oh, ooh, not great. So, Shota Umino taking on Jay White. The crowd loves Shooter. And hey, I got Tanahashi vibes from his gear. And hey, he hit some good strikes. He did some good stuff. This was a good showing for Shota Umino. Is he there yet? No. No, he's not. The pandemic also halted some of his growth as far as his excursion, because he might have been able to work out, do some stuff, but he wasn't able to compete in front of a lot of fans. Now the shit's opening back up. He's going to be able to do some stuff. Jay White did his usual, slow down stuff. He did do some good rib targeting. Shota came back with a nice twisting neck breaker for 2, but eventually fell to the Blade Runner. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Don't really have much to say besides Shooter coming back. Great. If you can get Moxley and Shota Umino as part of that, say, rumored AEW New Japan Super Show, as of right now, it's only a rumor, though Tony Khan has a huge announcement coming up on Dynamite. That'll probably be it. If you can get Moxley and Shooter Umino teaming up in a match, I'm all for it. Kaza Ninare ringing out throughout the Expo Center. Very loud. Suzuki must have loved it. Minoru Suzuki versus Tomohiro Ishii, beating the shit out of each other for a long time. A lot of minutes. There isn't really anything I can say. Strikes, headbutts, a lot of... Man, they just hit lariats. We got the Gotch being countered. And the vertical drop rainbuster, 1, 2, 3. What else do you want me to say about Minoru Suzuki, Tomohiro Ishii match? And there we go. So Suzuki leaves. He beats up a couple of young lions because of course he does. And then suddenly the Mad King shows up. Eddie Kingston's here? Well, they got a wrestling show in D.C. New Japan Strong does. And he says, I love to walk and talk the King's Road. Walk and live the King's Road. Or live, walk, and... He said basically something about the King's Road. I apologize. I was getting sleepy at this point when I wrote shit down. But the bottom line is he respects Tomohiro Ishii and wants to face him. Simple and to the point, as opposed to what I said. So, they gave Ospreay a big entrance with the United Empire accompanying him. It's been a minute since we hear Jon Moxley's New Japan theme. And Moxley versus Ospreay in a 60-minute time limit match. Dear God, I thought we were going to be here all night. Nope, they started in the crowd, and Moxley bled, and then bled more. Ospreay bled. They did some big shit. The crowd was into it. We did get some clubbing blows, a suplex, suplex to the outside. Really, really nice stuff. Very good, very good Os cutter on the apron. Dangerous, but whatever. I can put over how Ospreay still can work really well, even if I think that he's trying way too hard. He's trying way too hard to convince himself that he's the best in the world. We did get an elbow drop through the table. Moxley bleeding more, because why not? If it's a day in the month and a day in the year 2022, the year of our Lord and Savior, Kazuchika Okada, let's just throw that name out there, or Thunder Rosa, let's throw that name out. We're going to have Moxley bleeding. We get a double knockdown, a pile driver, powerbomb for 2, Os cutter. We get a hidden blade for 2. But then suddenly we get a pair of dime shifts, 1, 2, 3. But it seems like Ospreay kicked out, much like he didn't tap out against Zack Sabre Jr. And it was called up, but then not called off, and Moxley's declared the winner because they're building the story of Ospreay being screwed over by the company because they think that's going to make him a hated heel. No, it's just going to be a bad storyline because Ospreay isn't that interesting. It's great in the ring, ain't that interesting otherwise. And Moxley cut the promo, calling out Hiroshi Tanahashi. There you go. That was a 3.5 hour show that probably should have been 3 hours. They could have cut a couple matches down and you wouldn't have missed shit. New Japan, I hope, will invest in some better equipment, and maybe Fite TV can come into the 21st century with their streaming platform. Hopefully the DC show goes better. If it's a good card, I may buy it. If not, I might just buy the replay. Anyway, agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.